Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. We got the whole line together today. We got at Ant Rivera 86, Anthony Rivera, and at Fuzzy Chris 91, Christopher Perez. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. We are in playoff mode here on Total Hockey Now. So we're gonna get right to it. There's 3 games tonight. There's 3 games tomorrow, and 2 series that'll resume on Saturday. Gonna run through all 8. And we'll give you our thoughts on picks, sides, all that good stuff. I know I've got a few for tonight, but apparently before we came on the air, it sounds like that we were the reason for the Mets losing streak or something like that. Is that how that works? That they just snapped last night? By the way, at Subway to Shea, if you want to check out Anthony's Mets coverage. But you said the last time you were on is when it started, and then it ended last night right before you were coming back on. So.
Yeah, the last time I was on was the last time they won. So we had to get back on so that we could restart the winning streak. That's the mode we're in.
Oh, it sounds
Look
like
at that. They won a game.
Actually, that's what I take.
No.
If you had done the show last week, maybe honestly, that's what I take.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't have had the struggle that they had. The longest losing streak since 2004.
Damn.
That's
apologies to Mets fans. I didn't feel like we had that kind of power, but
sometimes it works out. But let's get down the brass tacks here. We got a couple of Eastern Conference Finals series going tonight, 1 Western Conference Finals, and then we'll have 3 more tomorrow, and like I said, 2 more on Saturday. Here's a look at the Eastern Conference situation right now, heading into tonight's action. We'll talk about the Flyers being up 3-0 later. That I don't think a lot of us had that outside of Philadelphia had that on our bingo cards. Carolina's up 2-0. They're going to go tonight and try it. Ottawa's going to try and at least make a dent in the series here. And both Atlantic series tied 1-1. Buffalo mainly because of late game heroics. Otherwise, they might be looking at an 0-2 deficit going into Boston. And then looking at the Western Conference series, way it's shaping up. We got Colorado, Los Angeles. We'll talk about that game in a little bit. Dallas with the double overtime victory to get the 2-1 series lead against the Wild. And then both Pacific bracket series, Vegas-Mammoth and Edmonton-Anaheim, knotted up at 1 apiece. We'll see how those series go tomorrow night. We'll talk about those. But first up on the docket here, going to be the Buffalo Sabres at the Boston Bruins. That game going to get underway tonight. Puck drop being at 7:10 p.m. Eastern time. On the money line, actually, that is shifted a tad. I believe Boston now up to -115, Buffalo -105. That's what DraftKings is now showing since I made that graphic. Total is 6.5. That dropped down to +110, now -130 for under 6.5. If you're looking on the puck line there, for Boston to cover, it's +225. If you think the Sabres are going to win by 2 and want to go alt puck line, that's +205. Regulation victory for both sides here is going to be +140. When you, for me, looking at this game here, and we can talk about the series as a whole in a minute, but Bruins second best home team in the league, that means something. Sabres were the 6th best road team, so that does eat into that a little bit there. But I got the Boston money line earlier today at -110, and I liked under 6.5 -130. I think the Sabres are in a little bit of panic mode here. This is the first adversity they're dealing with since they started this incredible run back in January. Looks like we're switching goalies here to Alex Lyon. It's going to be Jeremy Swayman at home. No Josh Norris tonight. No Sam Carrick for the series, who is actually an important trade deadline acquisition, especially in a series against a team like Boston. Swayman was fine in Buffalo, but he's a fantastic goalie at home. 19-7, 218 goals against, 920 save percentage. Both of his shutouts coming at home from the season as well. Personally, I think Boston's going to take the next 2. Buffalo wins game 5, and then Boston closes it out in game 6. You know, the Bruins have been the better team for the bulk of this series. They just had a really bad 8 minutes to close game 1. So I'm riding with the Bruins here.
No, that makes sense. There's a lot of things that you said there that make a lot of sense. The under is starting to drop in a lot of places, which makes sense. I don't know why it opened at 6.5. I felt like that was a lot. You can find it in most places at 6. It's not as cool, but I'm gonna go with the under here. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has just been bad. I think that's the term we're gonna use for him. His goal saved above expected has been terrible. And like you said, Boston for about 8 minutes fell apart, and then the rest of it has been good. Swayman has been a rock on the back end. Like Boston, like Pastrnak has been good, but it hasn't been to the level that we've come accustomed to yet. But the Bruins are right there. His line mates are doing a great job. They're defending well in front of the net. Buffalo has been a better team on home ice all year. Now they're going on the road. I don't think they're going to get the matchups that they want. I think getting Pastrnak away from that top line is going to help. So I would be inclined here to take the under. Swayman's going to stand. This is Alex Lyon's chance to be the starter moving forward. So he's got to go out here and have one of those stand on your head kind of games. I think this is going to be a tight one. I don't see teams trading chances. So I'm going to go with the under here. I just think that's where the money should be.
After all the pomp and circumstance after game one and Buffalo taking game one and the raucous crowd that they had out there in Buffalo, the fact that Boston takes game two right from them, I think was huge. And, you know, you don't get to be the second best home team in the NHL for no reason. With Jeremy Swayman being 19-7, has a .920 save percentage, I am also going to agree with you guys. We're getting a trifecta right off the bat. Whoa. We're going under 6.5 for Boston to win this game. I think Adam was right on point with how this series is going to go, and Boston comes away with the victory in game three.
All right, there you go. There's our first trifecta of the first game too. So we all see eye to eye on the total there. And yeah, like even in game two, Boston outplayed them throughout, and again, almost had a bad stretch to close the game where Buffalo started to creep back in. It just started a little later this time. Yeah, Boston's been the better team here, and like I said, I think Sabres are in a little bit of panic mode, whereas Boston's just kind of, they're doing their thing and they're fine. So, I'm with the Bruins on the side for tonight. Now, next up on the docket for tonight's slate, we're going to go down to the Metropolitan bracket. We got the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Ottawa Senators there. Goaltending matchup for tonight, Freddie Anderson versus Linus Ullmark. No surprise there. Carolina leads first. This is the 6th straight season that they've led a first-round series 2-0. Logan Stankoven's got a 10-game point streak, 9 goals, 5 assists, 3 game-winning goals during that run. Ottawa, 0-10 all-time when trailing 2-0 in a best-of-7 series, although Ottawa has taken 9 of their last 11 home games, and which includes a 6-3 victory for Carolina during that stretch. Ottawa, the home favorites, -122. Carolina, +102. Road dogs. If you're looking for a regulation victory, +155 for Ottawa, +155 for Carolina. Total sits at 5.5. Looking on the puck line here, if you think Ottawa's going to cover a puck and a half, +205. If you think Carolina could win by 2 on the road, it's +230. You know, when we look at this series, Ottawa hasn't played badly at all. It's just Carolina's gotten the timely plays when they've needed it. And Freddie Anderson, who I agree was the right move to go to out of game one, has been playing very well. And I kind of feel like we're due for an Anderson letdown at some point, which is why I'm going to take the Senators money line tonight. But yeah, thoughts on this series so far?
Listen, the Senators should be a whole lot better than what they've gotten right now. I get that the Carolina Hurricanes are a very good team, but they are just not generating enough shots on Freddie Anderson. I'm sorry, but there's no reason for Anderson to have given up just 2 goals in this series. Ottawa is just not getting pucks to the net. Their offense looks like it's suffocating. It can't find a way. And again, credit to Rob Brendamore in the gang, right? When I thought that the Senators could win this series, it was because they could get to Freddie Anderson. So far in 2 games, they haven't figured that out. Now they have to deal with the Carolina Hurricanes, who are a fantastic road team. No team had more shots on goal on the road than the Carolina Hurricanes. And I'm going to take Carolina's money line. I just think there's too much value there. You're getting them at plus money. Like, what have the Senators showed that they could do till now? If it wasn't for Linus Ullmark, these games would have been absolute wrecks. And Freddie Anderson, he made 37 saves out of 39 shots, but they played almost 2 full extra periods. Like, it's not enough from Ottawa to just, the pace is not moving. So I don't know how, even if they get a better matchup, like, it doesn't matter, because Carolina, to me, is just as dominant on the road. So I'm not seeing enough from the Senators here. Again, I'm sure the Freddie Anderson wall is going to crack, but even if it does crack, it's not going to crack enough where the Carolina Hurricanes can't support it. So
I will say Olmark has been a much better goalie at home this year, and he's been playing well. So I think that factors in. They're getting Tyler Clevin back tonight on the blue line, which, listen, I know he's not a hugely important piece, but on a third pairing, somebody that you can rely on. They're already thin there. They got one of their guys back. So I think Ottawa also understands that, listen, if you lose tonight, it's over. You're not going to win 4 in a row against the Hurricanes. So you're going to get a desperation effort out of them tonight, too. So I think
I would probably take as well the over 6. I know 5.5 isn't like it's low enough. -122 is tolerable, but like I'm willing to take the push because I just don't trust Freddie Anderson. Like this is not him. This is not regular season Freddie Anderson. I get that, but what happened? He showed up at the playoffs, all of a sudden turned on his switch. What is he drinking? The secret sauce from Space Jam, the first one that Michael's got. Like I don't like. He didn't turn into a good goalie, and the clock's going to strike midnight at some point, and he's going to fall apart. So let's hope it's now.
Yeah, history shows that not to trust Freddie Anderson, but I don't think he cracks in this series. I think it's in one of the next 2 series that we will see him break. This reeks of series that I've seen personally in the past. Hurricanes, Devils, same thing. Maybe Ottawa takes tonight or tomorrow, but that's going to be pretty much it. I don't think that they come in and beat the Hurricanes and take a series here. So I am going to take the under 5.5 here for game 3. I think Ottawa puts up a good fight in this matchup and maybe takes this one. But that's going to be pretty much it. So I'll take the under 5.5. I don't feel as comfortable taking the over 5.5, especially since the 2 games, it was a 2-0 in the game 1, and then 5 goals were scored in game 2. So we'll keep it in the under. Olmark will have a good game, I think, here, and Ottawa will come to play. They may win this game, maybe in overtime or something like that, but that's pretty much it. I think the Hurricanes, they play very well in the first series, and then they usually fall apart, and the true Freddie Anderson comes out afterwards.
I would lean under in this game too. I know Carolina's strong on the road, but like I said, I think you'll get a really. Olmark's been great. I think he'll be just as good tonight. Maybe, like I said, he's been a better goalie at home. But yeah, I think if Ottawa's going to win, tonight's tonight. And if we already talked about Buffalo, Boston, if you want to check out our thoughts on that, you could scroll back. I'll give you a little hint though. Sabres are 0 for 9 on the power play in the series and 0 for 31 on the power play over the last 9 games since April 1st. So that'll give you an indication of where I'm leaning for that game. But you could go back and check that out. Next up on the slate tonight, in the final one, we got 3 games tonight on this Thursday. Very light Thursday compared to the regular season slates, but we got the Avalanche heading to LA to take on the Kings, who are Colorado 5-0-0 against LA this season. They've only trailed once in that span. Cale Makar 0 points in 6 of his last 7 playoff games. Artemi Panarin's he's scored in both of the Kings playoff games so far, so trade deadline acquisition paying off there at least. Andrei Kopitar sits at 89 career playoff points. He's 3rd on the Kings list behind Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky. He's 5 points away from tying Wayne Gretzky. I don't think he's going to get to tie Wayne Gretzky here in the next couple of games, but definitely worth noting he's close there. Favorites right now, Colorado -166 on the road. Totals 5.5 at this point. Kings home underdogs +140. I think Colorado can cover the puck line on the road. It's +160. The alternate puck line's already up to 2.5 on both of those that when you go to DraftKings. If you're looking for a regulation victory, +105 for Colorado, +190 for the Kings. I will say the Kings have been pretty impressive out of the gate so far. I mean, they've given Colorado all that they can handle. They've kept it close. They are a much better road team than home team, so it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic goes. But you might say Colorado hasn't played as well, maybe, and maybe that's the reason the gap's a little bit closer. But I've liked what LA's done so far. This is what they're capable of. They're capable of keeping it close. They're not going to win the series. I don't think they're capable of winning more than 1 game, but the play has been closer than I thought it would.
Listen, it's all going to come crashing down tonight for the LA Kings.
They've got the regulation for the Avalanche.
They've been frauds up until this point. Now, if you look at the box score, you're saying, oh, they've kept it close. And the answer is no, they haven't. So it's been a strong play from Scott Wedgwood. His goal saved above expected is off the charts. But I mean, at the same time, Anton Forsberg has been elite. And I mean, because the Kings are averaging less than a goal. Their goals for 5-on-5 expected is under 2. They have played 2 games. So they can't score 5-on-5. And that power play is it's not clicking yet. They were really bad on home ice all year. I don't see that changing. So I don't feel like Colorado has hit their stride just yet, but I do think they're playing a really good game. It's not the high scoring that we expected, or at least they didn't expect to go that way. I thought these would be hammer overs to start, and they have corrected us. So
that's just because we're used to the Kings Oilers in the first round. That's why.
Right. We're just used to the Kings just getting absolutely run out of the building, and Colorado being one of those teams that could just pound you on home ice. But that has not been the case. I will say this. I've been doing this a little bit lately, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going to take Colorado. They're in regulation puck line.
That's what I did.
It's -1. Pinnacle you can get at a +132. It's only in regulation. Now, if you don't want to stomach that, Caesars has -1 as well. But it includes the whole game. So you're not getting as much value on it, right? If they go to overtime and they win, it'll cover. But the -1 to me basically states, look, if Colorado's got the lead, and there's 10 minutes left, the Kings have to open the gate. Like, they got to start pushing. And we have seen coaches be very okay with pulling their goalie early in any type of situation that they need. Because it doesn't matter if you lose 2-1 or 6-1. An L's an L at this time of the year. Goals for, goals against don't matter. So we've seen some teams keep it close. I think this is where the Colorado Avalanche might blow it open, because Anton Forsberg can only be elite for so long. And I don't trust him tonight.
And I wanted to say that too. Anton Forsberg is not that far removed from a 3-game losing streak where he averaged 5 goals allowed in that run. If I had said to you, halfway through the season, the Kings are going to make the playoffs, but Anton Forsberg is going to be your starting goalie game 1, not Darcy Kemper, and not because Kemper's hurt, you would have been like, excuse me? So, yeah, at some point, we talked about that Freddie Anderson dam needing to crack. Yeah, the Forsberg dam is going to crack too.
Both games finished 2-1 in favor of the Avalanche, and they have not scored more than 3 goals in about 22 days. So April 1st was the last time they scored more than 3 goals. That was against the Canucks, and then the Flames, they scored 9. I got to go with the over 5.5. I think at some point, this Colorado offense is going to score a lot of goals, and I think it is here. I do want to take a little bit of credit from the last time I was on the show. I did say the Kings were going to make the playoffs. They're here, but I didn't say they were going to go far. So I'll take the Avalanche here.
You
probably sweep the whole series.
You did say it. Listen, and keeping the receipts.
So I would lean over 5.5 too, just because I think Colorado is going to finally break through, and they'll probably carry the load there. But they were both top 10 under teams in the league this year. Avs were the top under road team in the league. That's why, but gut wise, and just because I think you might see 5 goals out of Colorado alone tonight, I would take the over. So there we go. And that wraps up the Thursday slate. But now we got to move on to the Friday slate here. And there's 3 games on Friday. I know Chris is excited to talk about this one.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. They're tied at 1 apiece. No goalies announced yet, but no reason to think it won't be Vasilevsky versus Dobesh. Looking on the money line here, Tampa Bay slight road favorites -122, Montreal +102 home dogs. Puck line -1.5 for Tampa Bay +200. If you think Montreal can cover the alt puck line at home +220. Regulation victory +130 for Tampa, +150 for Montreal. 5.5 the total here. I would think, for me, the first thing I would look at is maybe betting +300 to go to overtime. Like,
just
that's how
simulate straight to overtime. I don't know why we play the first 60 minutes. It seems useless.
I mean, for me, if I have to pick something, side or total, I would lean over 5.5 because it is a little bit of a low number, and Tampa does score more on the road. They were more of an over team on the road. That would be but I mean, this has been a fantastic series. I mean, it's got chippiness, it's up and down, it's got goaltending, it's had everything. I know Dallas, Minnesota, which we'll get to later, you could probably lock that in for a 7-game series. You probably lock this one in for a 7-game series too.
Yeah, listen, I tried to tweet at the RCMP, see if they can arrest Nikita Kucherov at the border, saying he's smuggling drugs, but I didn't hear back. So I think he will be entering Canada with the rest of the Lightning. The Lightning have been as advertised. Game 1 wasn't as chippy as I thought it would be, and they lost. And then game 2, I mean, the Tampa Bay showed their true colors. They showed exactly the type of team it is. Sabrin just came out there going for a skate, getting his team in trouble in any way, shape, or form that he could do it. Josh Anderson basically looking at him going like, buddy, what are we doing here? Brandon Hagel with an absolute right to the chin of Uri Slafkovsky. Tampa Bay's got to play chippy in order for them to have some success. And they have been a very good team on the road. They are more than capable of scoring goals. This has been a chess match from start to finish. So far, as expected, I think John Cooper's won that chess match. He's getting Nikita Kucherov out there and opportunities that he needs to. I think it's going to balance out a little bit here now that Marty St. Louis has the last change. You have to keep Kucherov in check. If anything, you got to get him a little bit off his game, because when he's off his game, he's starting to, late hits, sticks here and there. That's what you want. You want him off his game. You want him worrying about everything else. I'm going to go with the over here as well. It's going to go straight. It's probably going to be, if it ends in regulation, it's 4-2. But doesn't matter which side. The other team is scoring on the empty net. But I just feel like Tampa Bay needs it to be chippy. I'm hoping the Canadiens don't get themselves into penalty trouble, because you cannot give Tampa Bay's power play time to work. It is capable of hurting you. And the same is true for the Lightning. Like, their penalty kill is a mess. You cannot give the Montreal Canadiens opportunities to score goals. They are taking it. The Canadiens, if it wasn't for their power play, they could be down 0-2 in this series coming home. But I think it's a win for this team. They went into Tampa. They stole home ice advantage. They're coming back to the Bell Center on a Friday night. This city is ready to explode. Those first 10 minutes are going to be huge for the Canadiens. You got to come out, set the tone, set the pace. They got to find a way to generate shots on Andrei Vasilevsky. He is a really good goalie. You're not going to beat him with 9 shots at the end of 2 periods. They got to come out. They got to start putting pucks on net, take advantage of the power plays. I think we're going to get a little bit of chippiness. And I think referees at some point, they're going to try to balance it out. So they're going to take one guy out of the pile and say, hey, man, it's you. We may see 4 or 5 guys in the penalty box, which I think the NHL might want to consider expanding the real estate in the penalty box come playoff time. Because I don't know about you, but fitting 5 men in one penalty box that are, 6'2", 2 something, seems like a task. So
I mean, they made it work for the celebration with the Flyers. I mean, they figured out they made it work.
I've never seen so many men in the box. Listen, those referees got print out cheat sheets of who's on the ice and who's they don't even announce it. It was like everybody else is getting 2, man. Let's just figure this out. So I'm taking the over here. I can see this being, as the game progresses, it may open up some chances going both ways. Again, if one team's up at the end, we're going to see a goal. But this is it. Listen, I'm gonna be unbearable tomorrow. And if the Habs win, I listen. There's a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning fans on my For You page on X, and I listen. Some of them are bandwagons because you can see how they tweet. Because they're calling Josh Anderson dirty. I'm like, buddy, you guys employ Corey Perry. You can't be on that side of anything. And you got Sabrin on the ice, which was a choice at any given point. So I got some receipts lined up. We'll remember it.
There you go, Craig in the chat. We missed Dobson. Yeah, need to stay out of the box like Chris was talking about earlier. Would you
for Jack Guy to be effective though? What Craig he's just you got to be invisible on the ice. You know what I mean? Nobody's fighting Arbor because you don't want to get your chops beat off on the main stage. You know what I mean? For him to go out there, do not take the bad penalties. Do not give up the odd man rushes. Nobody's fighting you. Just remind the rats. You know what I mean? Once you start going up to the Hagels and the Perrys and the Sabrins, all of a sudden the Chihuahuas stop barking. Now they're like, okay, let's leave this alone. They're not fighting Arbor because you're gonna you know what I mean? He beat the wheels off Sabrins, and he's like, well, let's not do this again. And I mean, look at what happened to Dastu when he got into a fight. It's not what they want. Tampa Bay wants to be ratty. They want to be prime Brad Marchand, right? So for Arbor, it's just play your game, go out there, finish your hits. Nobody's going to come up to you and tell you nothing. You know what I mean? He's going to grab you and be like, hey, buddy, let's dance. But for now, just stay in your lane, play your 10, 12 minutes, be elite on them, right? But the loss of Dobson, I don't think it's been felt just yet. But, I mean, it's coming the longer this series goes.
For as long as we've been doing this show, I don't think I've ever bet the under when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens. And I ain't about to do
For
that
good reason.
tonight either. I ain't about to do that tonight either. We're going to take the over 5.5 for this game, especially with the Lightning's scoring prowess. I think this will be a high scoring game. I like to see Montreal come out with the win, and I hope Chris is okay with me adopting the Montreal Canadiens as my team here in the playoffs. I can't go with Carolina. They have to show me stuff before they become an elite team. Ottawa, no. Boston, never. Buffalo has Lindy Ruff, and I still haven't forgiven him. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, absolutely not. So we're going with Montreal here, and I hope that they take it all the way to the final.
Listen, we got the jerseys, the bandwagon jerseys, as co-president with the rest of the millions of Habs fans. We, you know what I mean? If you want to sign a PTO to just be, a fan during the play, like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Some people are like, oh, you're bandwagon. It doesn't matter. Welcome in, get your, have a seat, open your Labatt 5 account, get yourself one of those sins, just sit down, grab your chair.
Molson's okay?
Molson is absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. You can go out and get your players, your DeMaurier, whatever you want, and just, have a time. You know what I mean? Have a time. It's fine. You're allowed to be here. I ain't going to tell you no. Just, you're here for the vibes. You're here for the good time. It's kind of like when, the players you hate the most all of a sudden be part of your national team, like Team Canada. Like, I was rooting for Brandon Hagel, and now, like, I got to hate his face. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, you could be here for a good time, not a long time, and then, we'll set you free at the end of your contract and, hate you at the end, hate you next year when we got to face each other.
Now, before we move on to the next series, total, if you push the total to 6.5, it's plus 110. Any interest in going for the plus money there? I could see this being a 3-3 going into overtime kind of situation where it's like, okay, you're, without the shootout possibility, guaranteed to win. That's how I get. So I could see this being a 4-3 final. So I would even look at the 6.5 to get it to plus money.
Yeah, I feel like the 5.5 is easy money.
It's way safer.
Yeah,
way safer.
Yeah. 5.5 feels like it feels like easy money. I would have, the 6 is just. I feel like this line by the time we wake up tomorrow is already at 6, and then you'll see some books that push at 6.5 already.
Just up a couple pennies. Put on the 6.5.
There you go. Just a little piece of. So there we go. So we're halfway through. We've talked about 4 series. We got 4 more to go. We're talking about the Friday slate. Now, tonight, we've got 2 early games, 1 late game. Friday is the opposite. We got 1 early game and then 2 late games with Vegas, Utah, the first playoff game, NHL playoff game in Salt Lake City history, going to be underway tomorrow night there. Goaltending matchup. No reason to think it won't be Carter Hart versus Karel Vejmelka. I'm looking on the money line there. Vegas actually a very slight road favorite at -112. Utah -108. Total 5.5 there. You're looking on the puck line. If you think Vegas will cover the 1.5 on the road, plus 220. If you think Utah is going to cover a 1.5 at home on the alternate puck line, it's plus 210. A regulation victory down the middle, plus 140 for each of these here. So my take on game 3 coming up here is I think I like Utah on the money line, and I would take the over 5.5 -130. Utah scores more at home than they do on the road, and the first 2 games have been the total's been teetering right on this total. And you factor in how chippy this series has been, and there's only been 2 power play goals scored in 2 games so far. I think the dam's going to break at some point, and you're going to get an offensive surge, and I think that maybe happens here in game 3. We do have a rivalry brewing, and Utah is not backing down from Vegas in any way. Like I said, first playoff game for the fan base. Building should be rocking. Give me the ever slight home dog here. Utah -108. I think this will be a fun one to watch. This is one of those series where every game is worth tuning in.
I was trying to find an edge here, but everything just seems very well priced for a minute. Even Vegas, the sports books can't figure out what's going on either side here. Utah, like small underdogs, but not really. Vegas on the road this whole season wasn't great, but that was before John Tortorella shows up. They finally lost a game in regulation, so that's new to them. The over sitting at 5.5 is just like it's right there because it could teeter either way. Right, you can get burned by that empty net goal at the end. I don't have anything, but I will say this it's going to be fun for those fans in Utah, kind of like a little bit in Buffalo. We saw what the vibe was like. Well, you haven't been to the playoffs in a minute, and for the Mammoth, they've obviously never been. So the vibes are going to be high there. They're a well-coached team as well. Andre Tournier has done his job. I think John Tortorella is going to make sure his team continues to pay attention to the details, make sure they're good defensively. The Mammoth haven't come out and really kind of pushed the pace. I would say Carter Hart has been good, but that's a product of the team in front of him as well. That could there. So it wouldn't surprise me if this game's end is a low scoring event, but then we get caught with like 2 empty net goals. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I can't get on either side. There's not enough crazy value on it. So, but I will be tuning in sparingly when I'm needing to catch my breath from yelling at the referee in the first period for letting whatever Nikita Kucherov did slide.
So, I mean, unless the game goes overtime, which is a distinct possibility for Tampa Montreal, you should be able, you might miss the beginning of this one. See how that goes. I will say Utah, 7th best over team at home this year. That's another reason for me to take that over 5.5 there.
Utah, my West Coast team since the offseason, since we all named teams. I'm happy that they're in the playoffs here. And, I think it comes down to Vegas's experience in the playoffs, right? Like that's going to be the main deciding factor here, especially with now Torts on as the coach here and how well the defense can play. I'm kind of hoping Utah wins this series, but we'll see how this ends up. I feel like over 5.5 in the playoffs, no matter what game maybe, is kind of a gimme. Like you kind of have to take, if it's 5.5, I feel like you have to take it, whether you win it or not. It could go either way. But I just feel like there's a better chance of getting the over 5.5 than getting over 6.5.
I also think it depends on the matchup too, in terms of like with the goalies and stuff. And yes, Carter Hart, like Craig pointed out, Torts has been the goalie whisperer with Carter Hart. I mean, in Philly too, Carter Hart was playing really well till everything happened. And look, okay, Carter Hart, it's Vegas signs him. Not looking good under Cassidy. Torts comes in. Carter Hart looks like the Carter Hart that he was back in Philadelphia. So, again,
it's the attention to detail that Tortorella brings. Like we can dunk on him for being who he is, but like his attention to detail and his attention to defending and blocking shot. Ranger fans know that. I mean, they were one of the top teams in block shots when Torts was around. So, like Vegas is like. By default, Carter Hart is getting better unless like the Mammoth have to find a way to get shots in and have to make his life extremely difficult. I just don't know if they have that second layer to get to the net.
There was a time when Tortorella was the head coach of the Rangers, just to echo your point about block shots, where their top pairing night in and night out was Mark Stahl and Dan Girardi.
They got beat
I was
up.
right in the peak of when I had tickets and was going to like a game or two. Like that was the top.
Listen,
and they played well. Don't get me wrong. But
I was playing DFS, and every time the Rangers were out there against the team, even if the team didn't have a great shot volume, it was like, hey, man, let's plug Dan Girardi in there, get those 3 block shots on DraftKings, get the bonus, and just walk out. That's it. 3,500 for Dan Girardi? Sure, why not? A staple in my lineup just to make sure I could hit the bonus with them because you knew they were going to go out there and play too many minutes and block way too many shots.
That's why it was so hard for them to get so far and deep into the playoffs with Tortorella, because by the time they got to the playoffs, Stahl, Girardi, McDonough, they were all hurting with all the defense and block shots they were taking.
It was also the fact that a lot of those teams, poor Henrik Lundqvist, if he let in a second goal, was probably going to lose because they really didn't have any offense on those teams to speak of. They were very much they were another team you bet the under on. Let's put it like that. That era Ranger teams was very much an under era. Now, 2 teams that are very much over teams, and so much at this series that the overs are already up to over 6.5 is already up to minus 155 as the Anaheim Ducks and the Edmonton Oilers. Probably going to be Connor Ingram versus Lucas Dostal tonight, although pretty much none of the goalies available in the series are trustworthy. Edmonton minus 130 road favorites, plus 110 for Anaheim at home on the money line. A regulation victory plus 110 for Edmonton, plus 170 for Anaheim. On the puck line, if you think Edmonton covers the puck and a half, it's plus 170. On the alt puck line, plus 230 for the Ducks if you think they can win by 2 at home. And, for me, this is just one of those series where you just keep betting the over until it doesn't hit, and then you decide when it doesn't hit. Did something happen in that game to make me reconsider that, or was that just like one low-scoring game and we'll get back to normal next game? I'm looking at the alt over 7.5 plus 145. Even with, we do have to mention that McDavid, obviously didn't look great coming out in game 2 last night, but Draisaitl's been carrying the load offensively in this series anyway. Anaheim was the 8th best over team at home. They were the 8th best team at home. So if you were looking for a side, maybe I would look at them at plus money, but I mean, over 7.5 plus 145. I'm just going to keep banging the over until they raise it to like 8.5. What am I doing?
There was an idiot yesterday that bet the under. I don't know him very well, but it was me because I was here thinking that Connor Ingram could do something, and then I was watching the Oilers play. They were just they were terrible, even outside of Evan Bouchard, who doesn't have a point in this series. McDavid with just a lazy pass in the middle goes the other end. They score shorthanded. Like Connor Ingram is who he is at this point, right? Like he's a third string goalie. And I mean, Lucas Dostal, through no fault of his own, like he's stopping shots. He's just giving up 4 goals a game. That's the reality of who he is maybe at this point. I'm with you right there. I'm not getting burned twice. Like these teams are scoring goals and the Oilers power play isn't even really clicking yet. Like it's not to the level that we've seen it in the past. Like they're giving up shorthanded goals. That's how dysfunctional they are. Never bet against McDavid. That's what I learned. I was like, maybe this stays close. Maybe both goalies figure it out. Maybe the Ducks can't score on the road. And look at me knowing absolutely nothing. So hammering the over 6.5, hammering the over 7. We're going to hammer the over 7.5. We're going to ladder it all the way. I mean, these teams are just going to go back and forth. There is no sign of defense on either side for these teams. No sign. Correct. And McDavid and Draisaitl are going to go out there again. Like Draisaitl had 15 faceoff wins yesterday. Like he's out there all the time because nobody else can handle it. McDavid has to play a ton because, again, the supporting cast is just not there yet. If the power play starts to cook, and I don't even think maybe Anaheim tries to get a better matchup against McDavid because you got to find a way to slow him down a little bit. Maybe that's Ryan Palig. That Anaheim fourth line yesterday was causing havoc, and they might see an extended amount of minutes, which is something for a team in the playoffs. When your third and fourth line start to cook and make life difficult, all of a sudden you start to be a team that can be trusted. So right there with you. It's already minus 155. So imagine when you wake up tomorrow and try to place this bet. It's already gone.
Yeah, so that's why I took the 7.5. Just get it now before that becomes the norm.
It should also be a crime. Like it should be a war crime that the Edmonton Oilers have gone a decade without providing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl a decent goalie. Like the defense is bad. I get it. And, Darnell Nurse's contract is the reason. But like again, this should be a crime. It is a straight to jail that they're rolling out a third string goalie. Like Tristan Jarry, is a mess. I don't even think is it worth starting him? Probably not. But Connor Ingram has not been good, and every other goalie before that has been just as terrible. So, again, prison for everybody in the Oilers organization.
Adam, you said it earlier, hammer the over until you can't do it anymore. And, I hope Chris doesn't take offense to this, but I have always taken the over, just like with Montreal when it comes to the Oilers as well. I mean, you look at both teams, they both score a lot of goals, but they also both give up a lot of goals. So I feel like this is where you have to take the over. I'm going to take the over 6.5 on this game. And hopefully the Ducks win. I'm going with the Ducks here.
Taking the Ducks.
I tried to convince myself yesterday of something that was, you know what I mean? All the red flags were there. And I just didn't look at them. I believed in a third string goalie. That's on me. That's my fault. My bad.
I would have talked you out of that, but then I also talked you into the Kings winning regulation over the Flames on the last Thursday of the season. And look how well that worked out for us. And we both knew better.
Okay, but hold on. We both knew how that was gonna go. I knew betting the Kings to win in regulation against the Flames. I said it too. I was like, this feels like when you go to one of those drafts, you draft a player and you immediately hate the choice. The numbers say to do it, but you don't trust a single thing. And they lost. And when they did lose, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. That's on me. There was no avenue that made sense. I hated it from the minute I got there. So
we got Edmonton, Anaheim. That's going to wrap up Friday slate. So we've gone through 6 of the series. We got 2 series that are off for 2 nights. Start with the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild, since they'll drop the puck first. on Saturday between the two remaining. That'll be a 5:30 Eastern puck drop. No reason to think it won't be Jake Ottinger versus Jesper Wallstedt. Dallas leads this series 2-1. Currently, the money line plus 114 for Dallas, minus 135 for the Wild at home. Total, like I said, 5.5. Puck line plus 180 for Minnesota to cover. The alternate puck line plus 245 for Dallas to cover there. The 1.5. You like a regulation victory plus 170 for Dallas, plus 115 for the Minnesota Wild. I don't really have a read on this game yet. This is a series I think is absolutely going 7. That's not really that strong of going out on much of a limb. I will say I would lean under 5.5 if I had to pick something, just because I feel like we're due for a goalie duel at some point in this series. I haven't gotten it yet for sure. I feel like it's coming. Maybe this is the game 4. Game 4 is always the toughest to win, right?
No. We are going to see another elevated amount of goals in this game. I mean, the power plays on both sides, they were fantastic during the regular season. It's still cooking that way. We saw Dallas kind of get on the edge a little bit. Wyatt Johnston is finding a way to score goals. Doesn't matter what it is. It's matchup proof. If Dallas gets a power play, Wyatt Johnston's on the ice. I mean, there's like a 90% chance they're going to score, because I don't know what the kid eats, but he finds the back of the net. Jason Robertson has been cooking as well. I think like he's now got goals in 3 straight games. The Dallas Stars have the depth, and that was what's going to be tested. The defense is holding up. It hasn't been perfect for Jake Ottinger, but it's been decent, and Minnesota can hit you from so many angles. We were worried about their center depth. Ryan Hartman seems to be doing, his job. Joel Eriksson Ek has been good. Michael McCarron, who came over in the trade deadline, he scored a goal yesterday. That's a nice boost for that fourth line. There's more than enough offense here. And I think as the series keeps going, it's going to continue to get chippy. It's going to continue to get, kind of Jamie Benn kind of like, what did I do? And you're like, you know what you did, Jamie. So we're going to see a lot of that. If either team goes on the power play, they have high chances of scoring. I don't think the penalty kill is going to make too much of a difference here. It's just not to the level that it needs to be. The over is hit in 3 straight games. I don't know why all of a sudden these goalies are going to figure it out. So like Ann said, we're just going to keep hammering the over 5.5 because they keep giving it to us. There's no reason to suggest that we're going to be in for a goalie battle with so much offensive, talented skill on the ice. So we're in the overboat here.
Adam's got the under. Chris has the over. I have to be the tie break, and I'm going with Chris here. Over 5.5. I mean, we've talked about this whole episode here. You hammer the over until you can't do it anymore, and really the goalies haven't given us any, like 6-1, 4-2, 4-3. I feel like these two teams are just going to destroy each other and score as much as possible. I really thought that, Jake Ottinger, after having a tough season this year, would come alive here in the playoffs and really take hold, because he kind of needs it for this Dallas team. So, especially after last year, what happened with Pete DeBoer and all that nonsense, I thought that Ottinger would come out here, be strong, but it's been they have the series lead right now, but it's been a struggle. So let's take the over. And again, it's 5.5. Like if it's 6.5, then we're starting to maybe think otherwise, maybe stay away. But over 5.5, how could you not with these two teams and the high-powered offenses that they both have? You can't go wrong.
I will say this: the Dallas Stars finishing as one of the top teams in the league, despite the way Jake Ottinger has played. If he could actually settle down and buckle down, that would be a scary thing. But
he had all year to do it. Here he is. He's like, I have no interest in being good.
Maybe he was waiting.
You're right. He was waiting for this one. He was waiting for game 4 in the first round to be like, all right, boys, now I'll take it seriously.
I know, yeah. So we'll Dallas again. This is also, probably it's going 7. Borderline lock it in. Just the way the series has gone, the way these teams match up against each other. One of the more fun series to watch in the first round. Now, the last series we're going to talk about is probably the most shocking series results at this point. And that's not to disrespect the Philadelphia Flyers. I thought this would be a long series. I just didn't expect them to have a chance to sweep the Penguins in game 4 at home on Saturday night at 8:00 Eastern time, which that means the people of Philadelphia will have all day to drink in pregame for what'll be a ruckus barn down there on Broad Street. The money line here, Penguins, Flyers are -120 home favorites. Pittsburgh even money on the road. Total is 5.5. Flyers on the puck line +210. Alternate puck line for the Penguins +215 to cover. A regulation victory +145 for the Penguins, +140 for the Flyers here. For me right now, I'm staying away until I see what happens with the goaltending situation with Pittsburgh. And I'm not blaming Stuart Skinner, but you might have to shake something up, and the easiest thing to do is go to Shilovs and maybe giving Philly a different look in net. Maybe that gets you a victory and gets you back home with the chance to at least have, listen, are the Penguins going to win 4 in a row? No. Can they at least maybe claw back into this series and maybe steal a game or two from the Flyers along the way? Sure. So I'm going to stay away. I want to see what the goaltending matchup is here first. And again, Philly has been impressive, youthful, Porter Martone, Trevor Zegras this year has been great. Blue line's been solid. Dan Vladar, probably the most underrated goalie in the NHL. Something I want to talk about, not today, but on a future episode, is where are we ranking him fantasy-wise for goaltender next year?
He'll fall back into line next year and be one of the best.
He's very much a candidate that you're like, oh, I'm going to take him here. He was good, and then he's terrible. We'll get into that.
Dustin Wolf style.
But yeah, Dustin Wolf's at least young. He's got Calgary in front of him, so he's got an excuse at least. His road woes are a little crazy. That's neither here nor there. For this, if I told me to pick a side, I would say maybe Pittsburgh avoids elimination here. Maybe you just take them on the money line. But yeah, until I see the goaltending matchup, I don't know.
Well, the good news is Dan Vladar is eligible for a contract extension as of July 1st because he'll have 1 year left on his deal. So absolute perfect timing from him. His agent must be salivating. He's making $3.35 million. He's going to get paid. Somebody's going to pay him. I could care less who's starting for the Penguins because if it's Shilovs, that doesn't make this a better example. It hasn't really been Stuart Skinner's fault.
It hasn't been his fault. They got to change something.
He's not making the timely. He's being beat by Vladar. That's basically what it's come down to. And the Flyers all year, they were a good defensive team. They suppressed shots. The goaltending was good. Vladar had great numbers. They were just a boring team to watch because they didn't generate offense. And ever since the injection of Porter Martone, it just seems like this team is all of a sudden pushing forward. They're generating more chances. Pucks are getting to the net. They're making life difficult for the Penguins. And Dan Muse and the gang seem to have absolutely nothing they can do. They've scored 4 goals in this series. It's not enough. You got top players there. Sidney Crosby. First of all, I found out this little nugget here. Sidney Crosby got his first embellishment penalty yesterday. He's gone 21 years without getting an embellishment penalty, which is something. Because at the beginning of his career, he was a little bit of a baby. Now he's the GOAT. I mean, one of the best players ever touch ice. I will also reiterate this because some people on Twitter again were just absolutely not here. I know that some people are like, well, you could call the high stick and you could call the embellishment. I'm like, listen. It is not. It's either a high stick or it's an embellishment. Now, shout out to Paul Campbell, who, on Twitter was like, hey, the embellishment here for the high stick was just, amplifying it. And I'm like, okay, well, then it's, if you need to amplify it for it to be a penalty, then it's not a penalty, right? It's not the same like diving, right? You didn't get called for a dive, which, again, it's either a dive or a trip. Can't be both. It can't be both. I will argue with you until the end of the world. I will die on this hill. There is no thesis statement you could put together for it. But outside of that, I don't care. We're hammering the over again here. Who's going to stop the puck?
I would be I had to pick one.
There's the Flyers offense is just it's right there, right? And I know it's been under a couple of times, but if the Penguins are trailing, they gotta pull their goalie, right? So if you're down 2-1 or something, that's it. Get that guy out. And even if they score a couple of empty netters, doesn't matter. And I can see the Flyers. I can see this being a 2-2 and then a 3-2, and then all of a sudden the empty net hits. Or I could see this ending up becoming a track meet. Maybe this is when the Penguins get some bodies to the net, make Vladar's life difficult, because so far it hasn't. It's been pretty cruisy for him. He's been having a good time being the goalie of the Philadelphia Flyers, and this whole team is just taking storm right now. So they're on the uptrend. I do not want to play the Flyers in the next round. They just seem to be cooking.
Was a report that Vladar is considered banged up after Game 3. I would be with 2 days off though. I would be very surprised if he doesn't.
Hit the cortisol, my guy. Get whatever you need. The masseuse. Get everybody in there. Work on them.
This is the first game I kind of feel uncomfortable with. I think I'm with you, Adam. I think I'm going to stay away from this one. With Vladar and Ned,
you guys being reasonable headed.
I mean, I would lean over if, like I said, for the reason Chris said it perfectly. Like, if they get bodies in front, Pittsburgh their season's on the line here. They're going to be shooting at will at the net, so that would be my game I had.
Yeah, I think Philly puts an end to this tonight at home.
Saturday.
Saturday at home, raucous crowd. I think that they end this. And shout out to my friend Rob Pepitone, who's a huge Flyers fan.
Of Pep.
Yeah, Pepitone, huge Flyers fan. This is a big series for him. Excited to see him enjoy the Flyers in the playoffs. And I think that they end this series. We haven't gotten much from the Penguins, and I don't think we're going to get much from them. So I will stay away, but Flyers, I think, take this series.
Rob Pepitone, a good friend of mine. We commiserate over the Jets for plenty throughout the season. So
yes.
For a very long time. Here's the thing. The Flyers traditionally this season have been an under team, but that's before Martone showed up in the lineup. They were without Tyson Forster for a large chunk of the season. They got him back with like a week or so to go. That helps. I mean, and you look at the play of that fourth line, Couturier, Hathaway, Glendening. I mean, yeah, that is a tough as nails line to actually do anything against. And at home, you're going to see that matchup against the Crosby line a bunch. As Craig is chiming in, Crosby must be hurt. He's been invisible in the series. Hurts me as a Nova Scotia boy to say that.
Huge.
One thing I did notice, I mean, at least from a betting perspective, is like Crosby's shots on goal prop is sitting at 3, and he's got 3+, and he's had that every game. He's had 3-4-3. So if you see that again, and I was like at -105 or whatever, go for that. Maybe he is banged up, but this is a different. The Flyers team during the regular season was good enough to hang around. That's what they were. Then everything happens at the end. Guys back, get new additions to the lineup, and now they've got the offensive pieces to go with the very strong defensive team. So yeah, when Philly does get to the next round, and we can assume it's probably going to be Carolina. Before the playoffs, I would have like, oh, Carolina in 5, no problem. Now, I don't know. Got to see who's healthy and what, but by the time they get there. But Philly has been the most impressive team of the playoffs by far. Even if you want to say that the Penguins maybe are giving it, not to say giving it to them, but aren't playing that well, and Philly's taking advantage. Regardless, Philly has looked very good.
Let's be honest, too. Kudos to Pittsburgh for even getting to the playoffs this season. I mean, I think before the season began, I don't think we had them even in the top.
Either of these teams in the playoffs. Maybe Philly is a wild card, but
I didn't think the Flyers would be here considering the way that they played. But I mean, look at us here now, laughing at them going out here just steamrolling their competition. You mentioned that fourth line. These teams that have good fourth lines, good bottom six, they find ways to win games because you're going to have to play the best players, and those guys are going to cancel each other out a little bit. But those depth guys that come out and they're built for it. I was watching Couturier and Hathaway go out there. Like, Couturier's the captain of this team, and he's out there just winging his body around. And the same thing with Hathaway. There is no space. And when you can put your fourth line out there every couple of shifts to have to play the top six and know that they're going to spend time in the offensive zone, it becomes a lot for those star guys. Don't forget, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, even Carlson, these guys, they're no spring chickens. And when you're starting to put weight on them and the constant pounding that they're going to take having to play this, it's not I'm not worried about Trevor Zegras throwing his 150 pounds at me. You know what I mean? That doesn't hurt. But if your fourth line can hold, and now they're out there and Garrett Hathaway's throwing his weight at you, I would die. If he hit me, I would die. So their Flyers are going out there and they are making life difficult for the Penguins. You can see it. It's not the way the Penguins were playing. Their secondary scoring completely gone. Anthony Mantha seems to be on an island lost somewhere. Brazo, the big idiot. We don't see these guys. These are big bodies. Get to the net, make life difficult.
At this point, I mean, Philly, when you look at their lineup all the way down, and but they're relying on their, Martone could go cold at some point, although he hasn't looked like he's going by any means, and that would change things. But yeah, when you and even the blue line, Ristolainen's played well, Sanheim's playing big minutes. They've Philly's getting contributions from up and down the line. Everybody is pulling their weight. Everybody's doing the job they're supposed to. And that's a dangerous thing in the playoffs when everybody's playing their role perfect. That's what you're getting out of the Flyers. Now, that'll do it for this edition of Total Hockey Now. Now, we will be back next Thursday, but before we do that, I did want to play a game here because we have 3 games scheduled for next Thursday. It would be Game 6 of Oilers-Ducks, Game 6 of Stars-Wild, and Game 6 of Hurricanes-Senators. Realistically, how many games are we actually going to have the preview for that Thursday night? I think Stars-Wild is a lock to go to 6.
Not Hurricanes.
It's by Ottawa.
So I think Hurricanes in 5. I tweeted Hurricanes in 6 as my pick because it was the Hurricanes in 5 and Hurricanes in 6 were both plus 425. So I said, let me take that value with the extra game because maybe I started to buy in. A lot of people talking about, oh, Ottawa might give them a fight, might give them a problem. They've played them well, but it could still be over in 5.
That was me, by the way.
5.
What?
I had Ottawa in like 6. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, shoot me to the moon at this point.
Oilers, Ducks. I had Oilers in 5. That's still possible, but yeah, I think Anaheim gets one of these at home. And yeah, we're looking at a Game 6 next Thursday with Oilers and the Ducks. I think.
Will the total be 7.5 by then, though?
It might go up and come back down to 6.5 by then if you get one like lower effort game or anything like that. And then next Friday would be Game 6 of Vegas, Utah, Buffalo, Boston, Tampa, Montreal, Colorado, LA. And then, you start having games. If Game 7 for Philly, Pittsburgh would be a week from Saturday if it gets that far. But it's not getting.
That's not getting that far. I'd be surprised if it gets past Saturday. If the Penguins find a way to do something, anything, just find a way.
Like we said, next Total Hockey Now will be Thursday the 30th, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Playoff picks and more. What do we got on the Slapshot podcast, my friend?
Last episode was predicting the first round. Listen, it's been it's not completely dead just yet. It's not completely dead. Next episode will drop before the start of round 2. I can recap my 100% perfect first round predictions, which are likely to not be. And then we're going to find out what the second round looks like. We're going to pick some more absolute 100% guaranteed winners that hit maybe 40% of the time. So you're going to have to come and check it out. And, listen, at that point, by the second round, I'm either going to be really happy that the Habs are advancing, or I might be sad and need you there to cheer me up and tell me that it's going to be okay. So,
see. FantasyAlarm.com/NHL. You also catch Chris's picks there over on other days of the week that are not Thursday. I mentioned the Subway to Shea podcast earlier. Are we already doing a Sky is Falling episode, or are we trying to rally the fan base here?
No, we did this guy. I'm trying to be as calm as possible.
We did that
with this.
The Devil's corpse isn't even cold yet, and already like the Mets are just terrible.
We're in April. It's still early, but there are warning signs from what we've seen from this team. So I already had Nick Durst, if you remember from Better Sports Network. He came on and he's very negative on the team. So I said, let me get a little idea of how he's feeling about the Mets. So we had him on this past Sunday. And it's finally good that this Sunday coming up we'll be talking about at least a win, at least one win, because the last 2 weeks we weren't talking about any wins. And we did have a couple weeks ago, we had Nelson Figueroa, who used to pitch for the Mets, on telling us about the team's pitching and all that stuff. So grateful for a win here, and hopefully it turns around. Although we get Juan Soto back from a calf injury, we lose Francisco Lindor to a calf injury, so he's going to be out for a while. We'll see how this pans out, but there are some warning signs with this team that don't look good. So we'll see how things pan out by next week.
Oh, there you go. Subway to Shea podcast for all your Mets, whether it's positive or Sky is Falling. Either way, they've got you covered.
I'll be here for you.
Of course, Rip and Riff at Rip and Riff, myself and Mr. Jared Moore at Mr. Jared Moore. Only a few episodes left before we go on summer break. I believe the number is down to 4. So check that out. We'll talk Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll recap the NFL draft, which is obviously the big story of this Thursday outside of the hockey world, we'll say. So that's going to be, we'll talk about that as well with our respective Jets and Giants, both picking very high in the draft. But we're at Fuzzy Chris 91, at Ant Rivera 86. I am at Fucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. Back next Thursday, more Stanley Cup playoff pick series updates, and maybe a little series 2 preview, depending on how things bounce. We'll be back with you next week. Total Hockey Now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.